Welcome to another edition of Show and Tell. Today we're going to be discussing the beautiful trends that Studio A Home, a Global Views company, will be following as we move into spring-summer of 2020. The idea behind the direction for Studio A Home for this time period is very much associated with black and white. But it's not a pure black and white coloration. It's black and white via different materials and different textures and different patterns that create the interest in the intricate details that make Studio A Home such a well-known company for this neutral type color palette. The color palette will be accentuated with beautiful tones of brushed nickel and silver leaf. So there's an opportunity for a little bit of shine, a little bit of bling, but a lot of texture and a lot of use of different materials in the forging together of black and white to create a real trend direction for Studio A Home.
Okay, what we have here is an exploration of trend and color, but through the eyes of Studio A Home. It's a different approach. We're looking at our trend for spring and summer, black and white, but creating those blacks and whites in texture and material. Here you see a wide range of materials: Italian ceramic, hand-carved wood, cast porcelain, and beautiful living alabaster, Italian alabaster. The contrast here from this beautiful matte white, and also a beautiful matte white, but two different materials creating that. This is hand-chiseled, turned alabaster. You can see in the light, this is one of the most beautiful materials on the planet. And we have the privilege of working with this tiny little atelier outside of Florence, in the hills, Tuscan hills. It's real. They mine it there, they quarry it, they fashion it, and we're bringing it here. It's a privilege to work with this material. Italian ceramic outside of Florence. These beautiful little hand-applied moments. This is the Cascading Reef collection. Looks like a cascading reef. Hand-applied little divots on this hand-thrown vase, and then the glaze pools into these little collections on these applications. Just really beautiful. This is a porcelain collection out of Portugal. We worked with an artist in the UK who actually took impressions from living trees. These are beech trees, and where the limbs have been cut, they grow these moments over where that limb had been. And she's taking the impression from that moment, and then they're being cast in aluminum. They're the beech eyes, is what they're called. This is porcelain that's hand-formed and glazed. You see the double eye, the oval eye, and then this really beautiful moment. It's called the Loopy eye, directly cast from a living beech tree in the UK. Again, black and white through material and texture. This is a hand-carved wooden box. They start with a CNC machine to get this on a solid block, and then it requires hours and hours of hand finishing. And then the wood is dyed. It's not a stain, it's a dye that absorbs, and that's how we're able to get that really deep, rich tone. Here's a beautiful illustration of our black and white trend, and it's really classic Studio A Home. We have cast iron, Portuguese RAKU ceramic, and Italian ceramic. And we're getting that black and white through texture and material, really beautifully illustrated. These are cast from life, solid cast iron, and here's something really amazing. This tone on tone, but this is called flamed granite. It's a real solid block of granite that's been flamed, and you get this amazing texture, and it weights this piece. This thing is heavy. It's solid cast iron. Pure fine art sculpture right here in these three sizes. This horizontal is really beautiful. Here's a hand-thrown RAKU vase. It's called the footed vases and footed bowl. I mean, it's really complex, true fine art technique. Tiny little atelier in Portugal. And here we have these form bowls. This double wall technique creates this really beautiful illusion. And it brings in that silver and nickel, but through ceramic. So another material giving us a metallic. And look how complex this is. Not an easy piece to get out of a mold. These are slip thrown. And then this is a proprietary glaze out of one of the factories, or factory is the wrong word. They're so small, it's a studio in northern Italy. Two young brothers, they're just charming and delightful. And so pleased to be making work with us. Again, black and white trend for Studio A home. Okay, here we're exploring a little more of that black and white through texture and material. These stories are both told in aluminum, different uses of the material. Cast aluminum, this is the Atlantis collection. It's a centerpiece, large and small. Great receptacle for floral or just a sculptural item as well. It's cast aluminum, powder coated into matte white. This is the oak vase, an oak planter. Again, cast aluminum. If you'll notice, when polished, beautifully polished on the lip, and then washed in this black to really bring out these textures. Again, live cast from this beautiful oak specimen. Both centerpieces, lots of drama, and watertight. Okay, here we have a bit of a brighter side of that black and white trend for Studio A home. Those nickel tones, silvers, using cast aluminum. This collection is the hemp etched. They actually roll out hemp to create these original forms and gives us this really beautiful texture. It's soft and it's very organic. 3 sizes, this beautiful low bowl. Watertight, cast aluminum. Here we have a milk pod and pod. Beautiful organic representations of these seeds. Cast aluminum. This could receive something, it could be holding used as a bowl, or it's simply a very dynamic sculpture. Here's a beautiful matte white ceramic collection. This collection is the Asymmetrical Stipple collection. Getting that texture, which is on trend for us here with this trend study. Beautiful matte white, watertight, centerpiece bowl. Here's a couple of more examples of that black and white trend for Studio A home. Matte white ceramic again, which is always a staple. This is a really beautiful technique. It's folded iron. They're taking that iron and doing these beautiful crease folds into this real beautiful low bowl. This is called the Larkin bowl, large and small. Look at the feet on this. This beautiful angle cut. And then that washed metallic, still in the silver family, really soft. This is the spiral bowl, Portuguese ceramic, matte white finish. It's really dynamic. It's pure sculpture as well. Centerpiece. And here we have the Oxus Charger. It's very complex glaze. This Portuguese ceramic. And it gives us that black and white through texture. It's not a metallic. It hints at it. It's kind of its own thing. It's a bit akin to RAKU, but it's its own thing.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Show and Tell. We hope you enjoy the trend directions that we're going to be showing eventually in market for Studio A Home, a Global Views company.